Dear Jesus, on Tuesday afternoon, December 14th, 2021, I was in a car crash that changed my life. As I was driving north on Veterans Parkway towards Highway 96, a school bus tried to cross the road to turn south, but the driver miscalculated and didn't allow enough time and space. As I made split-second calculations, I realized there was no way to outmaneuver. There was no escape. I was going to hit this bus. As I slammed on my brakes, knowing that there was not enough street in front of me for my vehicle and the trailer I was pulling to stop before impact, my first thought and feeling was not fear for my life. It was anger. I was angry because what was about to happen could put other people's lives at risk, like school children on the bus, or the drivers in the vehicles beside or behind me, or perhaps even the drivers coming from the opposite direction. I wasn't afraid for my life, but I was angry because, at the very least, someone's irresponsibility was about to cause a lot of inconvenience. I had no idea how much. As my foot went down hard on the brake pedal, I simultaneously pushed myself away from the steering wheel, bracing for impact. And as the tires began to screech against the pavement, I expected the next sensation to be the airbag punching me in the face and chest, but it did not. What did happen is the loud sound of a collision, and then everything went black. Everything was black, but I was still conscious. Before I could even get my eyes to open, my brain began to process. What now? I'm alive. There is pain, but I am alive. Am I okay? I opened my eyes and began a damage assessment. The front of my vehicle had been crushed as if it were an aluminum can. The dashboard had collapsed on top of my knees, and there was shattered glass everywhere. My hands had been cut up and were bleeding. My head had hit the steering wheel, and I was still in a bit of a daze, but I had the wherewithal to pat-check myself to see if I could find any impalements, serious lacerations, or broken bones. I found none. Thank you, Jesus. Truly give thanks to you for that. I also give thanks that there were no children on that bus, and that no one else was injured, not even the bus driver. Their paramedics arrived and transported me to the hospital, where some tests were run, and it was determined I was healthy enough to be released. This was great news, but it wasn't a complete and accurate diagnosis. The cuts and bruising on my hands and the bruising and tenderness on my knees, chest, and face seemed to heal in good time. But there were other lingering injuries that, although they were not life-threatening, they were life-affecting, including a stretched ligament in my foot, which causes me pain, damage to a few vertebrae in my neck, which causes my arms and hands to lose feeling throughout the day and night, and traumatic brain injury that shows up in cognitive and speech impairment, compulsive behavior, convergence insufficiency in my vision, and also sensitivity to noise, including sometimes simply listening to people talk. Many things that used to bring me joy have now become chores for me to endure. The next many months were a roller coaster of recovery, countless appointments, spinal surgery, healing of the body and mind, accepting the limitations of my new normal, and continuing to ask you, Lord, to completely restore everything to me. I know my situation is not unique, and that there are others who have experienced situations like mine and even far worse. But it is an unusual and mixed feeling to be so thankful to you, Jesus, that I didn't lose my life, and that my family, friends, and church didn't have to suffer my death, and at the same time, still feel like so much was taken from me my family, my friends, and my church. And all of this took its toll, not just on my body, but also my soul. We were now in a lawsuit over the accident, and the responsible parties were trying to avoid being held responsible. It was unjust, and it angered me. The problem was that I wasn't just angry at the responsible parties in the accident, I was now becoming easily angered and sometimes even enraged over slight injustices, thoughtless acts, and accidents. On Christmas Day 2021, just 11 days after the accident, I had my first post-accident outburst of anger. And when I say outburst, that doesn't seem to do it justice of how out of line I reacted. I hurt my family that day. Not physically, but emotionally. I hurt myself too. I couldn't believe I had behaved that way. I was so disappointed in myself that I spent the rest of Christmas Day in shame and inner agony. I wondered if I had caused permanent damage to my relationship with my wife and children. Throughout the next year, it seemed as if I had 1,000,001 smaller reactions of anger to any number of things. But I also had 3 more large outbursts, similar to the one on Christmas Day. On the evening of Thanksgiving Day 2022, 11 months after the accident, after all my extended family had left our house from feasting and fellowshipping all day long, I had another big outburst. And as I was coming down from my rage, my wife said something to me that she had been saying for many months. She said, "You need to get some help." But this time, I finally realized she was right. I couldn't manage this on my own. I did need to get some help, just like I had sought help for all of my other injuries. I then began to see a Christian counselor who was practiced in treating people with PTS symptoms. After a few sessions, I, my family, and my counselor began to see noticeable improvements in my emotional state. Lord, it's been 3 years since that terrible accident, and we just settled the lawsuit. And now it seems as if the worst of days from this accident are now all behind us. I've experienced some suffering through these trials, but if you even get a shred of glory from the way that you have shown your goodness and faithfulness through it all, it will have all been worth it. Jesus, I recognize of you that which Isaiah prophesied. You are the child that was born unto us. You are the Son of God given. The government of heaven and earth rests upon your shoulder. You are Wonderful Counselor and Mighty God. You are Everlasting Father and Prince of Peace, and there will be no end to your rule of peace. You saved me and sustained me, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you for how faithful you've been through it all. Thank you for showing me your hand of protection and blessing. Thank you that my life was spared and that no one else was injured. Thank you for the paramedics and the ER staff. Thank you for creating my body to heal itself, and thank you for modern medicine. Thank you for my chiropractor, podiatrist, neuro-optometrist, neurosurgeon, technicians, nurses, and counselors. Thank you for your supernatural healing, and thank you for the countless prayers of the saints around me. Thank you for the church staff who were so patient with me through my recovery, and they picked up my slack when needed. Thank you for my church family who were also patient and cared for mine and my family's physical needs. Thank you for my family who ministered to me and served me, and thank you for giving them the ability to forgive me when I hurt them. Thank you for healing and restoring my relationship with each one of them. Thank you for helping us settle our lawsuit. Thank you for being with me through it all. And Lord, thank you in advance for the healing in my body and mind that have yet to come. I have faith that it can be done because I know that you are more than able. I want you to know that my hope and my trust are in you, Lord. You and you alone, no matter what. No matter what, I will count you faithful because that's who you are, and nothing can or ever will change that. With a grateful heart, Merry Christmas, Jesus. JD.